clock started.
Yeah, but we can't hear.
Oh. Where's your sound here?
That's not, I'm not the only one, somebody else.
Oh, you're on picture.
You're a good boy. Yes, you are.
September 23rd, when many of us join her for the Heart Walk. And I have one last thing, I saved the best for last. She and I are fellow Ohio Northern University polar bears. So thanks for joining us, Amber. Yeah, meals with the mission.
So for all of you that have your phones on you, if you could take them out and use the QR code on your table, that would be great. For those of you that have already purchased your tickets, we just want to say thank you. We are not even halfway to our goal. We'd like to sell 400 tickets this year. So if you can all help us out, and for all of the guests here today, we would love to have you join us as well. There's a flyer on your table. It is Monday, August 16th from 4 to 8 at TJ's Restaurant. And we're going to have live music and some raffle items. It'll be a really good time. And we also have some prizes to give out. Is Mr. Serpentini here? Did he sneak out? He snuck out. Okay. So he has purchased the most tickets. So he gets a Share House gift card. And then Mike Davidson, we have one for you as well for being our first ticket buyer. So again, if you guys don't mind, continue to do that. And if you can also share the event on Facebook, just to help get the word out there more, we'd really appreciate that too. Thank you.
Audio issues on Zoom. Okay. All right. Well, welcome today to all of our guests. Then I think we had membership applications up here. If anybody's interested, stop, see us afterward. But it's good to see a lot of people here today. Hope you enjoyed today's program on Fellowship of Wooster Rotary. We do have a new member classification talk today. So I'm going to ask past President Matt to introduce our speaker.
President Terry asked me a couple months ago to take Tom Cole's longtime role coordinating classification talks, which I was happy to take on. And we have our first in a series of classification talks coming up over the next couple months with our new superintendent of Worcester City Schools, Gabe Tudor. Gabe, would you please come forward? Gabe, feel free to. Yep.
This feels really official. So hey, I'm excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I have been in education about, I think, 16 years. spent most of my career in Wadsworth City Schools. I was a teacher, a coach, high school government, then became a principal. I went to Buckeye Local for a small period of time there to be the high school principal, and then I came back to Wadsworth for 3 years as their assistant superintendent. So from a professional standpoint, that's a little about me. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a lifelong educator. And then I married a superintendent's daughter. So that also kind of started making me think, oh, maybe I'd go into administration. And then we started having kids at kind of a rapid rate. It felt like we had 4 under 4 at one point. So then we stopped, no more. The last 2 were twins though. So kind of went into administration and have really kind of enjoyed that. I think what I love about it is, you know, our bottom line in education is students. And so I understand that in business, the bottom line has to be money or we wouldn't have anything. So I'm not in any way thinking that's a bad thing, but I love that our bottom line gets to be what we do for kids. And so I think it's always been an encouraging thing, and I've always enjoyed leading people in that way. A little about me personally. So yes, I do have 4 kids. We're moving to Wooster in 2 weeks. Actually, not quite. We're moving on the 13th, which is a little crazy because our first day with staff is the 16th. So it's going to be a busy weekend, but we're excited about it. I'm going to have a 7th grader and a 5th grader and 2 3rd graders. They'll be at Keene. We're moving out by Flickinger Hill. I didn't know what that was until I found out that's where I bought a house, and now I'm telling you. So we're really excited, but at the same time, it's been kind of a whirlwind of summer. Outside of that, which really my family was kind of the biggest thing for me. I love to run, so I think it kind of is a stress relief. So I run a lot. We're very involved in our church in Wadsworth, which I think for now we're going to stay there as part of the care to my 7th grade daughter moving as well. Keep that connection. So we're going to continue to stay there at the chapel in Wadsworth, and I'm really excited to be here. It's been a busy first 2 months, busier than I anticipated. We had a lot of administrative openings and teacher openings, and getting ready for the new school year, and just all that's entailed. But it's been a great process. I've really enjoyed it. I've been felt very welcome here in Wooster, so I appreciate that very much. Goals for me in the year is really to get our school year off well, get our kids back in person. I think long term, it's really that master plan that Dr. Tess probably had talked about this time. Worcester's growing, and that's pretty exciting. So being able to accommodate and address that growth in a smart way, and how that looks for our district, that's pretty fun stuff to talk about. So hopefully, we'll continue to grow in that process and have a more definitive plan at some point. So appreciate everybody's time, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I was a Rotarian at Wadsworth as well. We were about 1/20th the size of this organization, but really enjoyed my time there, being a part of that committee as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Welcome to Wooster, and we're pleased that you decided to join the club. I now will turn it over to Dee Vidia, who will introduce today's speakers.
Who need no introduction, but nonetheless, I'm going to say a couple of things, a few things about Chad and Matt. So Chad Boreman, as you know, Worcester Rotary past president, is a lifelong resident of Wayne County. In the spring of 1996, he began his financial services career after receiving his bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Toledo. Returning to Worcester, he purchased an ongoing practice, which has grown significantly since then. In 2006, he and his colleagues purchased the Buckeye Oil Building on North Market Street. Simultaneously, he purchased Roger Cook Financial Planning Center. In 2017, Chad brought in a new partner, so the firm is now called Boreman, Norton, Cook Wealth Partners. He's been recognized as the Elk Citizen of the Year and the Chamber's Jack O'Donnell Community Member of the Year. He's also won several financial industry awards. Chad serves as chairman of the board of the Apple Creek Banking Company. He's the incoming chair of the Wooster Area Chamber of Commerce and has served on the boards of several other area organizations. Chad's married to his wife, Sarah, for 21 years. They have 2 daughters, Emma and Carter. Girls are active in tennis and showing horses. Our other fellow Rotarian and past president, Matthew Lawn, is a member of the law firm of Critchfield, and Johnson, and chair of the firm's real estate department. Matt is also the president of the firm's affiliated title insurance agency, Heartland Title Agency. Matt's practice focuses on commercial real estate development and leasing, family business succession planning, private family trust company formation and governance, and corporate law. A 6th-generation Worcester native, Matt is heavily involved in the civic life of the community, serving on the boards of a local corporation, a private family trust company, and a local charitable foundation. Matt's current civic leadership roles include roles as the vice chairman of the Village Network, board member of the Worcester Area Chamber of Commerce, secretary of Pee Wee Hollow Inc., vice president of Great Decisions of Wayne County Inc., and board member of the Worcester Cemetery Association. In addition, and related to today's program, Matt also enjoys using his professional skills to invest in the revitalization of downtown Worcester. Matt resides in Worcester with his wife, Lynette, who he introduced a short while ago, his son, Henry, and their 2 dogs, Ducky and Daisy. Folks, I give you Matt and Chad.
Thanks, everybody. Chad and I are going to tag team this a little bit and take different aspects of 2 different downtown projects. But before we get started, I think it's worthy to note that Chad and I have a partnership that's built out of a lot of hard work together as Worcester Rotarians, as back-to-back chairs of Main Street Worcester with Sandra, and then later now on the Chamber Board. And Chad and I found out a while ago we share a passion for downtown Worcester. We're both members of multi-generational Worcester families, and we saw a need about 5 or 6 years ago to get involved in downtown projects. That the projects needed leadership, they needed people that would be invested in those sort of projects, and we decided that it'd be a heck of a lot easier if we took on some of these big projects together versus trying to do it on our own. I apologize in advance for the various photo credit thefts that I've made in the course of my presentation. Samir is probably looking up there and saying, I thought I just put that on Facebook on this weekend. And you did. I thought it was an awesome picture, so I decided to use it. So I'm going to get started with a project that we're calling Liberty Bell. And you would only know how to spell Bell if you're from Worcester. If I can. It's to the next slide here. There we go. Which is the area known as the East Liberty Street corridor. So the area that's east of Beaver and between North and South Street. Home of some of Worcester's most notable new recent projects, including JFB, Commercial and Savings Bank, Minglewood, Muddy's, and others. As many of you probably know better than me, this was once a vibrant area of town that included some notable businesses, the Ohio Hotel, and was just around the corner from Millionaires Row going up Bell Avenue. Then at some point that changed and certainly started to fall into disrepair and blight. And by the time that we loop around to the great financial crisis, the Great Recession of 2007, 2008, it's looking pretty rough. The project, we can advance the slide here. Oops. There we go. Just sharing some pictures historically that I've pulled out of a couple of Harry McLaren books. Actually, the site of the project we're going to be talking about on the bottom right is the old Floyd Dugan car dealership, which the foundation to that building you see on fire is actually right underneath where we're getting ready to build in the next couple of months. Certainly many of you on the bottom left will recognize the building, the white gas station building, Art Deco building that CSB housed before they moved across the street. As I said, in 2008, 2009, we saw that a lot of car dealerships were suffering, and one of the casualties was the Booker Cadillac dealership on East Liberty, which I purchased with my late grandfather, Ralph Jones, in 2009. Ralph unfortunately passed away in November of 2010 and wasn't able to stick around long enough to see a lot of the fun things that we've been able to do since then. But our initial goal in 2009 was just addition by subtraction. Let's eliminate some of the blight. Let's put some new coats of paint, new roofs, and start to turn around this neighborhood. We had a lot of great building stock. As you can see, most of those buildings are still standing today and have been repurposed into great downtown projects. Then we flipped forward to 2015, and we were able to take the next big leap with the addition of Muddy's to East Liberty Street. Dennis and Paula Tafoya took the leap and doubled their footprint and moved down and have been now operating, it's hard to believe, 6 years on site and have a very vibrant restaurant scene on East Liberty. A couple more pictures from that renovation in 2015. Then flash forward to 2016, just a short time after, Commercial and Savings Bank makes the leap from West Liberty Street over to East Liberty Street and occupies the little white Art Deco gas station building for a couple of years. You can see a group here with the ribbon cutting, including some bank and some city officials. Before then, they take the leap across the street a couple of years ago into the beautiful new branch location that Alicia operates at across the street. You can certainly see CSB has been a great partner in the East Liberty Street revitalization. It's not an easy thing for a bank to take a leap into a neighborhood like this and be one of the first people on the block, and the hope that folks like Matt and Chad would get their act together and do something even bigger to follow. And so soon after CSB goes in, we start to consider what next. Now the easy things, the existing buildings are mostly occupied or built out. Now we've got to think about the tough project, and new construction is tough. It's like outrunning a bear at every step. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong, and any one of them can be devastating to the project. In fact, in full disclosure, we haven't outran all the bears yet. We're still chasing them, beating them off on a daily basis, but so far so good. But leading even up to the pandemic, we had various iterations of what we thought the building would be. And as late as March of 2020, the bottom center picture is what we thought we were going to build on East Liberty Street. Now comes the pandemic. We push the pause button and say we would restart our efforts once we saw that the economy was up and operating again and folks were interested in doing new construction projects. Then, to our surprise, in January of this year, we're approached by Mike Mariola, who everyone knows from the Rail and the City Square Steakhouse, South Market Bistro, and other successful endeavors. Mike was actually on the Main Street board with Chad and I at the same time. So Mike knew of our interest in doing a project on East Liberty and expressed an interest in being part of that. Specifically, he wants to do his next concept, which is going to be a large footprint Italian restaurant with his particular interest in East Liberty Street being that there's going to be a lot of accessible parking, which is something that's always a premium when you talk about downtown development. So what you see before you is the artist rendering of the building that we hope to start to construct in the next few weeks once bids are back and we're able to start with construction. It's about a 16,000 square foot mixed use building with Mike being the occupant of the first floor and 8 market rent apartments on the second floor. The apartments will be a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. And one of the neat features about this project compared to a lot of other downtown projects is everyone will either have one of those awesome balconies up on the front of the building or a Juliet balcony coming off the back. The other upside is, again, because we've got the ability to add in a little bit of parking, everyone's going to have their own dedicated on-site parking spot, which is a pretty big selling point if you want to balance out downtown living with some of those conveniences of actually still needing to access transportation. Our hope at this point, again, is we hope we get started with construction very shortly with the completion in fall of 2022. And certainly many thanks for the work of the City of Worcester and Worcester City Schools and our other public partners in helping us with the tax abatement for this project. I can tell you with downtown projects like this, the ability to complete the project would not be possible without the full support of our public partners and the ability to obtain a tax abatement. There's just simply not enough in potential income from a property like this to be able to do it any other way. So it's a way that we can leverage that public investment to make a great project that a few years down the road, 10, 12 years down the road, then becomes a stable tax-paying property owner in downtown Worcester supporting our schools. We've also been fortunate to have a great team around us with Architectural Office of David Krebs, who you probably heard of before, certainly done any number of downtown projects. Bogner Corp is our construction manager, and Commercial and Savings Bank is our lender on this project. And obviously the countless others that have helped make this possible. So we'll have some questions. Actually, I'm going to flip forward. Mike Mariola couldn't be here today, but he did want me to share some of his pretty pictures for the project. And tell you a little bit about his concept. So one of the things that attracted us about Mike's project, and I think Mike's really interested in, is he wants to make sure that this project has a broader demographic, is a little bit more accessible than perhaps some of his other restaurants. Specifically, he wants to target his prices at a point that's going to attract families with a median income that really targets our community. So this will truly be a family Italian restaurant. No, he didn't send me with samples, and no free breadsticks. But he did send me with some pretty pictures of just some outstanding food that's acting as their design inspiration for this concept. Here are a couple more pictures that will give you an idea of the exterior. One of the goals here is to have a lot of indoor-outdoor space to the extent we can, living in Ohio, and recognizing that it's a unicorn 5 days a year that we actually have the weather capable of opening everything up. But we are going to have a really nice patio that's going to feature fire pits. You can kind of get another feel from various angles of what the outside is going to look like. And while Mike wasn't able to be here today, he actually did send me with a full copy of his brand identity book. So and a couple of business cards. So if you're at all interested in learning more about Mike's project, feel free to grab one of his cards, give him a call, come up front after the meeting, take a look at the brand identity book. There's a lot more than what I could do service in the couple minutes that I wanted to talk about it here. So with that, I want to turn it over to Chad that's going to talk about our other project, Quimby Building.
Thank you, Matt. Just to kind of recap on some of the things that Matt did say, it has been an interesting ride working with Matt. My grandfather used to say, the only good partner is a dead partner. And I don't believe that, Matt. It's really been a good fit for both of us. Matt is extremely intelligent when it comes to a lot of the details of the real estate development business. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't like development of real estate, new real estate. I like old stuff. The new stuff scares me. Sorry, Mike, but you gotta get those bids in, right? So let's just kind of flip it through here. A couple of things. One, just to bring up about the history of the Quimby building and why we bought that building and what we're doing with that building. And okay, so I just want to fast forward here for a second. When the first project that Matt and I did together, we had some other real estate that we joined forces with, but this was the first project that we were going to do. It was the old bicycle shop and Sandra's favorite other store downtown, which was the adult video store. So Matt and I bought that building, two buildings next to it, which is the old Pittsburgh Paint building. And the bottom right-hand side is was the rendering that we were going to do with that building. And then CSB graciously said we would like to have our own footprint, which really gave us the impetus to kind of go out and start looking more at the other parts of downtown Worcester and really figure out what we wanted to do.
So a blessing in disguise was we were able to buy that lot, and Matt said CSB taking the leap of faith with that in town. I will say that North Market Street's a little sketchy still with the construction there. Thanks, Bill. So let's talk about the Quimby building. And so we really had the opportunity to look at the Quimby building when we sold that lot, and decided this is a big undertaking. It's a big building. A lot of people have looked at it. What do we want to do? And I give Matt a lot of credit on this, and I think a lot of it has to do with his family upbringing as well. Is, you know, do we really want somebody from outside this community owning the oldest and the largest remaining department store in Wayne County? And it's also, you know, the nicest, I'm going to say, building in the square, because it's our building. But and we liked the fact that Rubbermaid was there, and we certainly didn't want somebody from out of town to come in and move their flagship store out. We weren't going to let that happen unless they wanted it to happen. So we decided to go ahead and pick up this building. And I started looking a little bit into Mr. Quimby and what he did. And you notice there's a lot of buildings in the downtown with his name on it. But what I was impressed with is, it kind of, Matt and I were talking about him, it was almost like he was doing some of the things that we're trying to do, which is just make sure that our community stays the way we would like for it to stay, locally owned and supported. So the Annett building was originally 5 different stores. When Quimby built it, it was 5 different stores. And William Annett decided to take over the majority of that building. And the Boatner family construction company renovated that building in the 1940s, I believe it was, right, Ted? 40s, 50s. So they took this building over and tore out all the interior walls and made it one big open expansion. And what I liked about the Annett and the Quimby story is these folks were pioneers in moving to this community and making it a better place. You know, Mr. Quimby was one of the reasons why the College of Wooster was here. He was one of the reasons why the railroad came here. So, you know, to own a piece of history like that really is kind of impressive in my mind, coming from a rural community out in the country. So then what do we see next happen? You know, the Annetts decide they sold this business in the mid 1900s to another family, and that was from Wayne County as well. And I think they ran it until the late 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And the building went vacant. And, you know, that was a lot of retail space. We saw what happened with Freelanders. We saw what's happened in North End growing and so forth. And thankfully, through a lot of hard work and folks from Rubbermaid, Ludhook, who I've heard was instrumental in doing this. I'm sure there was a lot of other people as well. And I'm circulating, I don't know if Ted circulated around, but there's a binder with a bunch of pictures of that renovation in 91 to 93. Thank you. And so when Lud and Rubbermaid decided they were going to put this everything Rubbermaid store for a lot of their surplus products, I know the one person that was ecstatic about this because it was in a book. Sandra said she could hardly stand herself. I mean, she was so excited to have that down there to fill that void. Again, largest retail space in downtown. One of the things that we decided we were going to do before we thought Rubbermaid was going to leave is obviously do something with the Liberty Bell project. And as fate has it, when it rains, it pours. And so we all of a sudden now are faced with this massive 28,000 square foot building. And what are we going to do when construction prices are at all-time high? And let's go ahead and make apartments. And of course, Matt had 8,000 renderings of what we could do, and we were ready to roll. Once again, kind of some fate has it, we started to do some digging and think about what we want to do. And some folks, Matt was going to put a teaser out here today, but he didn't. So I guess it's up to me. Today, we're going to introduce somebody that I think is got a lot of history in this community, that I think will be an awesome story, one that still surrounds itself about members of Main Street, members of the Chamber of Commerce, people in our community that really take a focal point of making sure this place is a better place to be than their past generations. And so what I'm really excited about is today we're going to leave here. You guys are going to know what's going to happen with this next phase of this building. We are not putting apartments in. We are not going to put retail in for us or anything else. So before I introduce this person, but I'm pretty sure everyone is well aware of it, will know this person when I ask them to come up. I do want to again just thank Matt for his partnership. It's been awesome. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more stuff. The kids, my girls enjoyed getting up on the roof and taking some photos up on top of the Quimby building. So that was a good time. We may not be able to do that for a while. But the county commissioners and what they've done with us to help us with the building and the building next door to it and parking to make sure that we can secure some things for this next group of people to come in. Also, city administration, you guys really appreciate your help and your efforts in all the projects we do. And certainly, but not least, Sandra for helping us in the Main Street, getting these things done over the years and Main Street continuing to do that. So thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Sandra. And we also appreciate everything that the downtown folks do. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Mr. Christopher Bueller to come up here, please, and talk to us about the next phase of the Quimby building. Christopher?
Right. My heart's pumping a little bit, but I'm a little excited about this. You know, we were going to announce this tomorrow, and I was sitting down here last Monday, and President Terry said, "Hey, we're going to have a presentation about development of downtown Worcester next Monday," and I thought that's really terrible timing for me. So we're never going to get to talk about this. So with a little bit of light arm twisting from these guys, they asked if we could move our announcement up one day. So we said, okay, we can make that work. And talk a little bit about today. So you guys are going to hear it publicly for the first time. We'll have some information that's going to go out actually probably in 3 minutes here. So that's timing. But you know, I guess why my heart's pumping and why I'm excited about this is, you know, I grew up in Worcester. This is my hometown, and I should say that many of you know my cousin Rich Fishburne. He's kind of my counterpart in our family business that we retained after we sold Bueller's. He really wanted to be here today, but he had a family vacation. So it's our hometown. We grew up here. It's really close to our hearts. You know, I serve on Main Street Worcester board. I love it. I love seeing the development. Most of you probably remember 25, 30 years ago, I'd have been like 6.5 years old, but I still remember that it was, you know, downtown Worcester was not the greatest place to be. It was not something that you kind of brought your friends and said, hey, check out this town. This is really cool. But what has happened over the last couple of decades has just been awesome. And the vibrancy of downtown has just, I mean, just tenfold over what it used to be. You know, my wife, I was kind of joking with Chad this morning. I said, I feel like she moved here because of me, but I'm pretty sure it was because she was in love with the downtown. She just, you know, that was the first thing she said when she came to Worcester. She just really, really liked it. But I think with the vibrancy, there's a lot of runway to be had still there. With you know, downtown Worcester is going to take a lot of continued support, and there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon. So when my cousin and I have been looking for the last few years, saying, you know, what can we do? How can we contribute? We really want to be a part of this. We just never really kind of had the right opportunity. But in the, you know, with the Everything Rubbermaid store kind of giving their notice, that we immediately looked at each other, our wheels started turning, and said, hey, this is our chance. Let's jump on this. Let's see what we can do. And really this opportunity for us is giving us a chance to invest in downtown Worcester. And really the only way two hardware guys know how to do that, and that is through retail investment. So we have entered into a lease for the entire building. We are going to be putting in our flagship E&H Ace Hardware store on the first 3 floors of this building. The 4th floor is also going to be our corporate offices. We've essentially outgrown our corporate offices above the downtown Worcester store. And this is really going to give us a lot of opportunities like we've never had before. We're going to have a store combined with our corporate offices where we're going to be able to test products and processes and merchandising. And we're also going to be right in the heart of downtown Worcester, where, you know, we grew up. So we're really, really looking forward to this. We also have been fortunate enough, Tigner's Hometown Hardware is going to join us in that process as well. So we won't have 2 local hardware stores. We will have one, you know, one strong, bold hardware store in downtown Worcester, where I think we're going to be able to bring a lot of great things to downtown, participate a lot in downtown as well. And we're just really, really excited about it. So a lot's going to happen over the next couple months. This was kind of a whirlwind that we were able to bring together, and I think that maybe only a few local guys can make happen so quickly. but we're looking here over the winter to kind of bring this all together and shooting for roughly a March 1st opening. So I'm pretty excited. Should be something fun for us too. So.
And just to kind of cap it off, what you're looking at there, obviously it's not up in the building yet. We're heading to design and review board in the next couple of days to obtain their blessing on some new paint schemes for the building. Again, trying to take it back to some of the historical colors while keeping some of the existing accents. So we're really excited that, you know, knock on wood, if we can beat the weather this year, by the time the snow flies, that we'll have a fresh look on that building as well. So I think we do have a few minutes if there's any questions from the audience. If there aren't any questions, we'll let everyone get out of here. Oh, Peggy right there.
Yeah, so there's, I guess some of it started a couple years ago. Ace came out with Ace Hardware, who we operate under, came out with a brand new retail concept, you know, kind of to take us through the next 10 years. And we've embraced that. But there's a lot of things that we just can't do being separated from our stores that we would really love to test. You know, I oversee all of our merchandising, marketing, things like that. A lot of display concepts, bringing in new products. It takes a lot of effort to get behind that and make sure that you're really putting the time and attention into it to make sure that it succeeds. So, and that's something that only we'll be able to do in our current environment. Or in our new environment. There's also, you know, partnerships, some local partnerships. You know, we have some manufacturers here in Wooster and such too that we work with, and we have their products. So we'll be able to work with them a little bit more closely on, you know, bringing different types of products into our store, different displays, different ways of displaying that merchandise as well. So there's also some, you know, services and things that we look at from time to time that also are kind of hard to test unless you're really close to it and can see it every day. So, so it's, you know, there'll be more details to come as we look at that. But this store will have a different look and feel as well. You know, it'll be tailored a little bit more toward downtown Worcester, toward foot traffic. You know, we have a little bit of tourism down here too. So it'll be geared a little bit more toward that, which is also going to take, it's going to be away from our standard model. So that'll take a little bit more time and attention. Hopefully that kind of, in a general sense, maybe answers your questions. But, oh yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I'm sitting over here at this table today, and Katie said, "Hey, I'm doing stuff on Facebook for Rotary. I'm going to go around to everyone at the table, and Christopher, I'm going to start with you. If you could see anything in downtown Worcester, anything at all, what shop would it be?" And I was like, "Skip." So hardware store, maybe.
Thank you, everybody. And we do have Mike's pitch book and his cards up here again, if there's anybody that wants to take a look at that before they take off today. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much. When Matt came in today, he said there would be an announcement today that nobody else has heard yet. So I said, well, this is the perfect place. Rotarians like to be the first to know. So we were excited about that today. I've always felt blessed to live in Worcester. I'm also a native of Worcester, left for a while and came back. But to live and work here, because it's just such a great community. And that doesn't happen by accident. It's our city administration, our county administration, our chamber, Main Street, Wooster, and many, many leaders over a number of years. So Chad and Matt, we're pleased that you guys are stepping up and our next generation of leaders, helping with downtown development. And Christopher, congratulations to you and your organization. That's very exciting news. I know you guys know what these are, but I'm going to give you these anyway. For anyone out there who doesn't know, these are what we give each of our speakers. It's our Rotary wheel with the 4-way test on the back, and they're made by the village. So thank you, Matt. Also have one for you. A couple of reminders before we adjourn. Again, a reminder for the Meals with a Mission. Let's get the word out. We'd like to really get those, bump up those ticket sales. So talk to those you know, post it on social media. Let's get that out there. Let's hit this one out of the park. I mentioned last week that the district governor is having an event at the MAPS Air Museum over in Canton on August 29th. It's from 1 to 5 p.m. and that includes free entry into the museum and a complimentary meal. So if anybody is interested, I think it's August 13th where they're asking for RSVP because they just need to know how many meals. So if you're interested, shoot me an email. I know I'm going to try to get over to that event and support our district. Next week, we will have classification talks. And also, past President Justin will be filling in for me next week. This is my second conflict that I had here for the summer, so appreciate that, Justin. With that, we stand adjourned.